بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا مولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, it's a pleasure to be hosted by yourselves, mashallah, and to be here in Scotland, Aberdeen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for your efforts in your deen. And it goes to show how much you care about your deen, how much you have love for your deen and your Islam, that it should flourish in yourselves, in your children, your generations, that you are holding these events and hosting other people to come and to share what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you prosper, make your families prosper, keep them upon Iman, and keep your generations upon Iman too. May Allah ta'ala accept all the efforts of the brothers here, the Imams, and the Masjid management, who are, mashallah, continuously working around to establish all of this. Having said that, establishing the deen, establishing Tawheed, establishing Iman is a legacy of all the Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam. And more so Ibrahim alayhi salam. Because, as I mentioned earlier, he is known as the figure, the leading figure when it comes to anyone who claims to follow a monotheistic religion. A religion which is based on believing in one God. Then they always look towards Ibrahim alayhi salam as a fatherly figure for them. Ibrahim alayhi salam is mentioned all over the Quran, 73 times approximately mentioned in the Quran, with one surah dedicated by his name, Surah Ibrahim. Such a Nabi, in regards to him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used some amazing descriptions in terms of his virtue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in one verse, Inna Ibrahim kana ummatan. He is described as a community on his own. When we say a one-man army, this was Ibrahim alayhi salam, named by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a nation on his own, in regards to the qualities that he encompassed and the passion that he had, the worry and the concern that he had, the compassion he had, that everyone should be saved from the fire of Jahannam. Allah Ta'ala describes him as qanitan lillah, obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we see this obedience all over, from the very early days of his life, where he is growing up in a household. How many people were not born to a Muslim family here? Anyone? So everyone born to a Muslim family here. Everyone born in a house where the first thing when they came into this world was that it was recited Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. These were the very first words that you would have heard when you came into this world, because you were born in a Muslim family. Thereafter, growing up in that Muslim family, you would have heard numerous times, and you would have seen numerous times the people of your household worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, prostrating, bowing down, reciting the Quran. But for Ibrahim alayhi salam, it wasn't the case. Ibrahim alayhi salam grew up seeing idols all around him. It was a house in which the idols were manufactured. His own father was the one who was making these idols and saying, Ibrahim, go and sell this. And he would go out and he's thinking, I'm selling these idols, people are buying it, then they're prostrating to it, then they're asking from it, give us goodness, give us sustenance, give us children. My father created it. Can you imagine what is going through his young mind? And here he is witnessing all of this. And deep down inside, you see, we are born with fitrah. The Prophet ﷺ said, كُلُّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولَدُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ, that every newborn is born upon the natural disposition. That natural disposition is that every child and every human has the potential to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to recognize that He has a creator. But it is the household that they end up growing in and the education that they are given that then changes their beliefs. So some people, I'm just going off on a bit of a tangent, some people grow up in Muslim households, but their primary educator is the TV. Their primary educator is Simpsons or something else. That's where they learn the English from, that's where they learn the etiquettes from, to the extent that even eating at the table, they have to watch something in order for that food to be digested. Otherwise it doesn't digest, it doesn't go into the mouth. And then that's when they grow up with the etiquettes that are alien to Islam, because that's who they've grown up with, that's who they have been brought up by. They haven't been brought up by that mother and father that, were the means of them coming to the world. They're brought up by someone alien to you and them. Ibrahim alayhi salam had a situation whereby he's seeing all of these idols. But this is where his mission begins. That he needs to address the idols within his own homes. He needs to address the one who is making those very idols. And if we look into how he addresses and how he stands up with courage, but at the same time with respect, with love, with compassion for his dear father. Allah Ta'ala mentions his father in the Quran. وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لِأَبِيهِ آزَرَ أَتَتَّخِذُ أَصْنَامًا آلِهَةً, are you making these idols into gods, these statues into gods? And he even addresses his own people regarding the same. لِمَ تَعْبُدُ مَا لَا يَسْمَعْ وَلَا يُبْصِرْ وَلَا يُغْنِي عَنْكَ شَيْئًا. Why do you worship that which neither hears nor listens, nor can give you any benefit, can't give you any harm? He addresses his father, يَا أَبَتِ لَا تَعْبُدِ الشَّيْطَانِ لَا تَعْبُدِ الشَّيْطَانِ. He says, don't worship shaitan, don't obey shaitan. إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ كَانَ لِلرَّحْمَنِ عَصِيًّا. The shaitan is that being, is that one who disobeyed the one who is most merciful. Now, when you disobey someone who is hostile to you, it's understandable. It's a rebellious nature that we have. Someone hostile to us, we react in a negative way. We don't want to listen to such a person who is aggressive towards us. They say, no, shaitan is that being who is disobedient to the one who shows him the most mercy and the most compassion, the most kindness, and that is Ar-Rahman. He says, oh my dear father, Ya Abati, that's the word itself, saying, oh my beloved father, why do you worship shaitan when he was the one who is disobedient? إِنِّي أَخَافُ أَنْ يَمَسَّكَ عَذَابٌ مِنَ الرَّحْمَنِ فَتَكُونَ لِلشَّيْطَانِ وَلِيًّا. I actually fear for you. I have this worry for you that some harm may come your way if you continue disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you become a friend of shaitan. And this is where a point to learn is, sometimes we find, especially amongst the young ones, when they find their path, when they find their feet and their ground, and they know that this is deen and this is not deen, immediately they become very aggressive. I'm not sure if you've experienced it in Aberdeen, but I've seen countless of youth that they find the deen, now they want to go home and they want to point a finger at their father saying, you are doing bid'ah, this is haram. Is that the way we address our father? In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, even if they were mushriks and if they were into kafir, you still have to maintain respect for them. And here is Ibrahim alayhi salam challenging the one who is manufacturing those very idols, but yet the wordings he uses is one of love, one of compassion, because that is what is going to get the message through to the heart. When you show a genuine concern of love, when you show a genuine concern for the person, that you want good for them, and then you speak with ihtiram, with respect. That's what you call amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar in the correct manner according to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is how Ibrahim alayhi salam grew up. And now we in our lives, even as the young generation growing up, they may not have idols as such and statues as such, which have been molded by clay and by mud. But we have different idols. And those idols, unfortunately, are made by the parents as well. The idols come in the form of examinations for school, whether it be GCSEs or whether it be uni exams. The idols come in the form of, you must have this career, you must become a doctor, you must become an engineer, you must have this degree, and you must have these grades. And then you have these idols coming in the forms of cars. You have these idols coming in the forms of all these materialistic things, which, yes, their parents ingrain in the children, saying that you must have these to be a successful person. If you want to have a good life, this is what you must have. From the time the child goes into nursery, already they're being told this. Look, you have to go and learn. And even at the age of nursery, if they don't know some basic things, the parents get stressed out. What's my child going to do in the future? He's only in nursery, or he's only in year 1, or he's only grade 2 or grade 3. And they're already stressing themselves out. Now we had an entire period of exams. More than the child studying, the parents are studying with the child. Look, read this, learn this, read this. And all along the child is being fed this, that if you do not pass these exams, next year is going to be harder, and the year is going to be harder to come, and then the following year is going to be harder. Then you have the end of primary school exam, and then you have the end of secondary school exam. It's only going to get harder. Year in, year out, that's all they have, that's all they have. To the extent exam time comes, maktab, evening classes, sorry, my child cannot come, he's got extra tuition, he's not doing well in school. Whenever they're not doing well in school, is the masjid that gets cut out, is the classes that they attend for Quran gets cut out. That's the first thing you will realize that will be sacrificed, is their deen will be sacrificed for the sake of their dunya, and they will lose out on both. These are the idols that we as parents have placed before these children. In other words, it might sound a bit harsh, but you are the azar of your household. If you are the one who is doing that to your child says, I want to go to the masjid, I'm going to miss my Quran class. And you turn around and say, listen, if you don't do as I say, then you are going to get this. That's what Ibrahim alayhi salam's father said to him. That if you don't desist and you don't turn away from this, then I will surely afflict you with a painful punishment. So the lesson that we learn from here is, yes, in today's day and age, we may not be worshipping stones per se. We may not be worshipping the golden calf as the Bani Israel did. We may not be worshipping, the idols that the different faiths have. But in replacement for those things, if it's the careers that we have and the exam results that we have, and if it's the materials of the things that we have, because of these things we are sacrificing our deen, then they are your idols. And just as Ibrahim alayhi salam had to smash them in order for people to understand, we need to be smashing them from our own homes. We need to have the priorities set right, whereby we say, no, yes, our success in the dunya and in the akhirah will be when we put our deen straight. When we make our deen straight, then our dunya will also become straight. Where our deen is turned upside down, then our dunya will also be turned upside down. And that is a battle for every young one and old one. The battle of Ibrahim alayhi salam within his own homes. We find sometimes it's our relatives, sometimes they were our friends. And this is Ibrahim alayhi salam challenging whatever comes in the way of his deen from his very own household, extending to the further and wider community. And these are the challenges. If our home is fine, we still have social pressure. We have pressure from amongst our community and our friends and our network and our circles. that even if our own family, our wife and children, and those who live immediately within our four walls, if they are on one platform, then they collectively have a challenge to face the wider community. And this is what Ibrahim alayhi salam had. He had to look up to he had to stand up to his people, who are all engaging in this shirk, in associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when they threatened him, and he was using logic in order to try and make them understand. There's two things you'll find in Ibrahim alayhi salam. One is where he throws logic out the window, where he just trashes it. And we need to do the same. And at times, we need to use that logic in order to make people understand the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So at times, we need to use the logic, yes, in the right way for the right cause, and to bring people closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let not this logic be the means of you going away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unfortunately, when we have, especially in the times that we live in, with an advancement in technology, in the sciences, and the way our whole entire education system is structured, is one whereby everything is based around rationale. Everything is based around your logic. It has to make sense. And only if it makes sense, you should comply. If it doesn't make sense, then why are you doing something which doesn't make sense? This is how, in a nutshell, our education system is structured. To the extent certain topics and certain lessons are dedicated to critical thinking. And in critical thinking, what they teach you is question everything. Question everything. Why? That's why some children have a disease. For anything you say, why? Anything. Go to sleep, why? You have to eat this, don't eat this, why? Everything will be a why. It's a disease. Because this why would further in their life lead to questioning, why do we have to pray? If we have to pray, why 5 times? Look at the time, it's 10:47 and we're still sitting here. That's what they will say. Why? Why do we have to fast? It's 20 hours of fast. I'm pretty sure it's as long as 20 hours in Aberdeen. Why? This is the question. Why? And this is where you trash the logic and you do what Ibrahim alayhi salam did. Aslamtu li Rabbil Alameen. Don't ask me why. All I know is who is telling me. I know my Rabb, my Creator, is telling me. That's all I need to know. Now I'm just going to submit. And this is where Ibrahim alayhi salam showed both aspects. When it comes to something which is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sami'na wa ata'na, we heard it, we obeyed, and there is no question to be asked. To the extent that everything that you see within this one command, it defies logic. Where's the logic in slaughtering your own son? You cannot find the logic in it. There isn't any logic in it. And thereafter, for us to follow in the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salam and slaughter millions and millions of sheep and cows and everything across the world, which we don't eat at times either. Where's the logic? Where's the logic in going for Hajj and doing whatever you do in Hajj? There is no logic. But the lesson to be learned is you don't look at the actual command per se. Look at who is commanding you. Look at the one who is commanding you. Look at the qualities and the sifat of the one who is commanding you. And you know that it is your Creator, your Maker, who knows you better than you know yourself, who has designed you and designed the way your body works. If we understand that much, or we understand this much, that if I brought a brand new car, someone was telling me in Aberdeen you'll find plenty of new cars. You don't find old cars. These new cars will come with their do's and don'ts. From the manufacturer, this is how you use the cars. This is how to get the best out of the car. You're not going to sit there questioning about why. Why do I have to use it according to what this says? Why can't I just use it the way I want? What this makes more sense to me. Why is it that this car can only take petrol, not diesel? Can't I just mix the two? It sounds ridiculous. Yes, The same way it sounds as ridiculous when you question why Allah is telling us do this and don't do this. When you have understood that Allah is the creator, He's the one who designed my body, He knows what I should have as my fuel and what I shouldn't be having. What if I consume will harm me, what if I consume will benefit me. When I should stay hungry, when I should eat. He regulates, He governs, because He made me. Now that is the logic, if we want to see from a logical perspective. But sometimes, get that logic, find a nice bin, and you trash it. That is your salvation. Just as when the doctor tells you something, you may not understand everything, because you're not a doctor. But you have to abide by the guidelines He gives and the prescriptions that He gives for your benefit, for your health, for your physical benefit. When it comes to our spiritual benefit, Allah Ta'ala tells us the same. Just do it. It's as simple as that. And Ibrahim alayhi salam has shown us how to do that. Even the most difficult of tasks, He made it easy as such, that He just pelted the thoughts that shaitan brought to him. He just pelted those thoughts out of the way. And that's what we have to do. Shaitan will come with thoughts, and he will come with his waswases, his whispers, and he will cast these thoughts, and he will make you doubt. He'll make you feel poor at times. He'll make you feel strange at times as an alien who's trying to practice a foreign religion. But this is where, as Ibrahim alayhi salam pelted the shaitan out and submitted before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is what we need to do. And that is who Ibrahim alayhi salam was. قَانِتًا لِلَّهِ حَنِيفًا. And this name, this word Hanifa, you'll find with Ibrahim alayhi salam on many occasions in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it. And Hanifa means when you disincline from all those things which are going away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You disincline from that and you turn your total focus towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Exclusivity. You give your exclusive attention towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what you call Hanif. Disincline from all other ideas. Disincline from all other faiths. And only incline towards the one faith and the one ideology which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us. That's what we call Hanifa. وَلَمْ يَكُمْ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. In many of the verses of the Quran, Allah Ta'ala says, وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. The reason why it had to be clarified is because the Jews wanted to claim that Ibrahim alayhi salam belonged to them. The Christians wanted to claim that Ibrahim alayhi salam belonged to them. So Allah Ta'ala clarified, مَا كَانَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ يَهُودِيًّا وَلَا نَصْرَانِيًّا وَلَكِنْ كَانَ حَنِيفًا مُسْلِمًا وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. And the funny thing is, another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that إِنَّ أَوْلَى النَّاسِ بِإِبْرَاهِيمَ لَلَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُ وَهَذَا النَّبِيُّ. Another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that in fact the Jews are claiming that Ibrahim is theirs, and the Christians are claiming that Ibrahim is theirs. But Ibrahim alayhi salam came before there was Christianity or Judaism. So where were they claiming that from? So Ibrahim alayhi salam, the one glaring lesson that you will find in his life is his submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is the level that he submitted to the extent that he did not just want that for himself, but he also wanted the same for his progeny. That's why later on in his life, when he moves away from Babylon, where he was born and he grew up, and because of the dispute with his father, he left his home for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he migrated to Sham at one point, and even en route where he encountered the king, a tyrant king. And this tyrant king had a habit that wherever they found a beautiful woman, he would take the woman into his captivity and he would do whatever he wanted with them. And the same when they found Ibrahim alayhi salam was there with his wife, They arrested the wife of Ibrahim alayhi salam and took her away. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made it such that every time he intended evil with her, he became paralyzed. Until in some narrations it occurs that he saw a dream, a terrifying dream, if he was to lay his hands on this woman, Sarah alayhi salam. So he let her go and gifted her instead with a slave girl called Hajar. And this is how Hajar came to the family of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Further, when Ibrahim alayhi salam continues and fast forward into his life, where he goes through numerous trials as well as being flung into the fire, which I'm not going to go into now. But we fast forward all the way onto the period where Ibrahim alayhi salam with his family is residing in a place in Mecca. And here Ibrahim alayhi salam is building the Kaaba with Ismail alayhi salam, his son. Now look at what a noble job he was given. That he was erecting the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Kaaba. The Kaaba that we look at and we are just amazed. We look at and we can't take our eyes off. The Kaaba that we all sitting here, we are longing to be there. And every time we go there and it's time to return, we just want to come back. Such a noble place, such a blessed place. But the moment he finishes the construction, what does he say? رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ رَبَّنَا وَجَعَلْنَا مُسْلِمَيْنِ لَكَ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِنَا أُمَّةً مُسْلِمَةً لَكَ. Immediately he's done the greatest of jobs that he could have been tasked with. And having completed that, he's asking Allah, accept it. Accept this noble task from us. We pray our salah. Do we know he's accepted? We've spent the entire Ramadan. Do we know he's accepted? Dhul Hijjah come, you can go for Hajj and come back. But do you know he's accepted? Acceptance is the key. Acceptance is what we all need. Even for a small deed or the greatest deed, we need acceptance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second dua, O Rabb, وَجَعَلْنَا مُسْلِمَيْنِ لَكَ. Myself and my son, make us both from amongst those who submit to you. Submit means حَيَّ عَلَى الصَّلَاةِ حَيَّ عَلَى الْفَلَاحِ. Nothing in your eyes, nothing in your mind is greater than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that time, because you know this is the time for adhan. This is the time the adhan is given. You know there's nothing that I can be doing better than going for my salah and prostrating before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Submissiveness or submitting means at that time, regardless of what you're doing, even if you're cooking, even if you're in your office or you are studying, whatever you may be in, that is the time you abandon that thing and you say, Allah, I'm here before you. That is your labbaik before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what you call becoming submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anytime the deen calls us to take an action, whether it be one of the rituals that we need to carry out in the forms of our ibadat, or any other situation given where our Islam requires us to act in a particular way, that is where you need to say, سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا, I submit, أَسْلَمْتُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And then the fact that he makes dua for his progeny, that he wants a whole nation of his progeny to be ones who also submit before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that tells us we must make an effort on our future generations, that they become those who submit before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're not going to become one who submits before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if we have not ingrained in their hearts the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are not going to become one of those who submit before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if they see you as the mother and the father not submitting before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ismail alayhi salam was Ismail alayhi salam because he saw his own father make the sacrifice. He saw his own mother make the sacrifice. He grew up in a household of sacrifices where the motto was أسلمت لرب العالمين. So when the time came for him to offer himself as a sacrifice, he says, Ya abat if'al ma tu'mar. Oh Father, do as you please. Do as you have been commanded. I am ready. We want our sons, our daughters to be submissive before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will begin with the mother and father. And then when they see it practically, inshallah, they will already have found in their heart a place to offer themselves as a sacrifice before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I know it's Isha time now. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah ta'ala make us from amongst those who are firm on the faith, who are firm in the iman, and who at any given time and occasion, whenever the deen calls us to submit ourselves before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we say labbaik to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah ta'ala give us tawfiq wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.
Jazakumullah khairan. Just a reminder, tomorrow we have a few programs after Dhuhr for the sisters. So please invite the women folk to attend tomorrow after Dhuhr. After Asr we have a talk for youngsters. So please, children, 13 plus, bring them to the masjid. Both boys and girls may attend, inshallah. And there's also a football. They can play football after that as well. And like today, also after Maghrib, there will also be another talk. So please, let's benefit from the Shaykh tomorrow as well. Jazakumullah.